Hey, it's Gabe from Better Patterns. Today I'm back again for another time-saving video. This time we're going to be talking about icons. A while ago, Sketch supported icons and you had to make them using masks, right? You'd have a whole icon symbol library and the color would be controlled by a mask on every single icon. So if you had 400 icons, you'd have 400 masks attached to each one of those icons. Since then, about 3-4 months ago maybe, I'm not quite sure on the timeline, Sketch has now supported using layer styles instead of masks. So you can get rid of the mask, put the color directly on the icon as a layer style, and that can be overridden in the symbol when you place the icon. So there's a plugin here that allows you to quickly import new sets of icons with those settings already baked in, so you can get off and running really quickly. That plugin's called Sketch Icons. You can install it via Sketch Runner. Before we run it, I want to actually go into settings here, and there's a couple things you can do. I usually just stick with the top two settings here. That is the size presets. So these are comma separated. We're going to support two sizes here, so 24 and 16. That means a 24 pixel artboard when it comes in and a 16 pixel artboard. And it will scale those icons to fit as it imports them as well, to fit the artboards. And I'm also going to add a prefix to these. So it's going to well, before I explain that, I'm going to be importing two sets of icons basically, filled states and outlined states. So I want to append or prepend some text saying, in this bucket we have filled ones, in this bucket we have outlined ones. So that way when you go to insert it in the symbol menu, they're in two separate places. It's easier to find what you're looking for. So this will be filled. And then the Sketch Icon plugin supports this wildcard called size, which will dynamically just add the 24 or 16 to the name. So it just gives us one more level of a folder structure when we import. And you'll see how that works in a second. We'll save these settings. We will go to import. We'll see our 24 and 16 there. We're keeping padding at 0. We're converting these all to symbols. We're going to apply a color as well. Though you can also apply a color from a symbol, or you can apply it from a color picker if you wanted to. I already have a color library set up with all those layer styles in it, so I'm going to be pulling colors from there. We'll select this darker gray. We'll hit continue, and we'll import the first kind of filled set of icons. And these will import, once it's done loading, into two buckets, the 24 and the 16. There we go. And it's using that color that I selected. Now if I inspect it, you can see that it did in fact use the prefix that I had selected. So filled /24 / the icon name. And this one should be 16, filled /16. Perfect. Now we have to import the outline versions of these icons. So before we do that, let's go back and actually change the setting from filled to outlined. That's the only change we need to make. Let's run it, import the icons. Great. Apply the color from this library, make it that gray again, and let's select that second set of icons. Again, we'll get two buckets and they'll be organized with those sizes. Excellent. So these should be all set. Let's make sure it imported correctly. Yep, we have a 24 there and we have a 16 there. Okay. Now, because those folder structures are in place, when we go to insert, we'll see filled and outlined, and each of those has a 24 and a 16 bucket, which is perfect. That way there's not multiple versions of the same icon and you don't know the difference between them when they're not organized. So now when we place one of these icons, let's say we would just put down a 24 pixel icon briefcase. Put that in there. Now because it's using the style overrides, we have access to all those colors that we have in our color library. So we can change this to whatever we want now. This is not using masks, this is just layer styles. So this is great. This saves us a ton of time. Gray, whatever you want. We have the entire layer style library at our disposal here. So that's great. That's the best way to do it. It takes advantage of everything that Sketch can do. So the second thing I want to talk about is, what if you're coming from an older masked library, a legacy library? I was using this originally, and I had to convert to a newer layer style library, and I did it all manually. I didn't use this plugin. I didn't know it existed. So I'm trying to save you the time by showing you how it's done the right way, or at least the way that takes up the least amount of time. So if you have an icon library that still uses masks, we can still use the same plugin. It actually has a feature. We have to select all the icons first, all the artboards specifically, the symbol artboards. We'll go to sketch icons and we're going to replace the color. So we're going to replace it from the same library. We'll say it's going to be that gray again. We'll continue, and what it's going to do is remove the mask, and once this is done, it will apply that shared library, shared layer style to the icon itself now. So if I select one of these icons, you can see that the mask is in fact gone, and it's now using a shared layer style, and it's the same color that we used previously. Now I didn't organize these in the same way with 24 and 16 because it might be an existing library and you haven't done that work yet. You can do that with find and replace and rename it and all that stuff to get that going. So hopefully this saves you a ton of time. I really wish I had known about this when I was doing this work. I spent a day at least manually going through each one of these icons and removing masks manually. Oh, it was such a pain. So I really hope this saves you some time. I'll be making more of these time-saving videos. Please subscribe in the video below, and there'll be more to come. Thanks. See ya.